One. Hey everybody, Alan Lipscomb with Nortec Global HVAC. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk today about staged equipment and the benefits of it and some of the tools and ideas that maybe help you sell some staged equipment in your market. So we're going to go over talking about sensible capacity and latent capacity. So air conditioning is doing two things. It's removing the sensible heat from the house or the structure, which is read on the thermostat, but latent is the amount of moisture that's in the house. So to condition the air properly, we're not only removing heat, but we're removing moisture. We're going to talk about why staged equipment is a big benefit with that. How does it work? As well as talking about a variable speed indoor product on a single stage outdoor product, what the benefits would be on that as well. So to understand what's going on, we have to realize that humidity impacts our bodies in the way our bodies naturally regulate temperature. When we start getting hot, we know our bodies sweat. Sweat is evaporative cooling, which helps us keep our bodies cool and comfortable. When you have a high content of moisture in a space, the evaporation from our bodies is reduced, leaving us feeling hot and sticky. So a lot of times what a homeowner does with a standard system is they typically, on the days where it's a little bit of a mild day, it's not extremely hot, but the house is starting to get a lot of moisture built up in it, so they feel hot and sticky, so they run over and they force the air conditioner to run, and that in turn removes the excess humidity. But that costs a lot of money to constantly run down the thermostat, and we typically keep the houses cooler than we have to just because of the sizing of the system. The load calculations are typically built around approximately the worst 30 days out of the year. So that being said, you have the rest of the year, the rest of your cooling season, for example, that you don't need that capacity. So what happens is the air conditioner single stage comes on, runs until it satisfies the sensible load, shuts off, and it doesn't have a chance to properly dehumidify the air in the space. So what are my choices? So, a variable speed indoor unit, be it an air handler or a gas furnace. The way these work in helping reduce the amount of humidity in the house, they have a slow start. So the outdoor unit comes on with a call for cooling, comes on full speed, 100%. But with our variable speed units, they go through a process that takes approximately 8 to 10 minutes to slowly ramp up to full speed. While it's doing that, it's removing more humidity because the air is going across that coil slower, the coil is getting colder, and it's allowing more humidity to get pulled out of that air as it passes the coil. On the opposite side, you're in the heating mode that allows the coil to get hotter, so your supply temperatures are warmer as they come out. You're not getting that initial blast of cold air. So the next option we would have would be go the two-stage outdoor. So on a two-stage thermostat, when you have a call for cooling, it's going to send a signal to the outdoor unit to come on, but it's going to come on the first stage with the capacity of the compressor being reduced to 68% and also reducing the airflow to the air handler. So you're only running at partial capacity, and it gives you the opportunity to have a longer run time, which is going to allow you to remove more humidity because you're also going to have a colder coil. If there's a need for additional capacity, you have that capacity available. The thermostat, the way they're set up, you have basically a set point between first and second stage. So if the set point is gotten too far away from the desired temperature or the thermostat setting, then it will bring on the second stage, and the compressor will go ahead and stage up to the 100% until it satisfies the load. The other thing I want to mention here too is, the way their air conditioners and heat pumps are rated, they're rated at 100% capacity. So they're tested in their SEER, and all the efficiencies are measured at 100% capacity. So when you're running at a reduced capacity, obviously you're using a lot less power, but that's not recorded anywhere to where you could say, well, you're getting a 16 series moving to an 18 series when it's on first stage. Unfortunately, the industry doesn't allow that. But in fact, if you were to take the measurements on the unit, you would see that you're going to have a much lower power consumption. The next option would be go to a 5-stage outdoor. We have a nice 5-stage outdoor that's not communicating, uses a standard 3 heat 2 cool stat, no special wiring, very servicer friendly. I have one personally in my house, and I can tell you I absolutely love it. It's a great unit. But this unit can start off as low as approximately 50% of its capacity. And from there, using a standard, like I said, 3 heat 2 cool stat, depending on what is going on with the temperature and the run times, the system is constantly looking at, okay, what stage did I run in last? It's monitoring the outdoor air temperature, and it's making the determination if it needs to move up to the next step. So with a call from a first stage on the thermostat, you could start off on one of the 3 speeds that are available on stage 1. Again, what you're doing is you're only running enough cooling capacity to take care of what the load is and what the unit is seeing and what it's looking at with the run times. Additionally, if you have a call, again, thinking about your thermostat having 2 stages of cooling, if you have a call for the second stage, the unit will go ahead and run at 100% of its capacity up until a point in time to where it satisfies the thermostat. However, if after a certain period of time, if it hasn't satisfied that thermostat, it'll move up into the boost mode, which can give you 118% of capacity on that system. So you have a good selection of speeds at low speed, as well as you have a boost mode for those extremely hot days when you're trying to keep up. So, when we're talking about HVAC and we're looking at a system matchups, one of the pieces of information that's available out there in the installation manual, basically tells you at a set temperature and a set indoor temperature and indoor dry bulb, what a capacity of a specific system would be. So for this example here, what we've got, we're looking at a standard 3-ton system with a standard single speed air handler. And if we look at the design conditions for this system, we're looking at an 85-degree temperature outdoor, and we're running the system at 1350 CFM. Our entering dry bulb is 75, our entering wet bulb is 62. So our capacity on this system right now is 31,700 BTUs total capacity. Our sensible capacity on it is 25,000. So that's going to leave us with the balance of 6.7 for our latent heat removal. So it's doing a good job of, removing a lot of latent heat, but the problem is it's at the same time, it's throwing 25,000 BTUs of sensible in there, which is going to tell the thermostat, okay, I've met the temperature and I'm going to go ahead and shut the system off. So that's what the problem is with a single stage is it runs until the sensible is met on thermostat, but it doesn't have enough time to run to remove that latent out, which is what we want to do. So here's an example of the 5-stage. So, we're looking at basically the same conditions, and you'll see that this one, our latent is only 3.5. However, we're only putting 14.5 BTUs into the house. So we're going to have a longer run time, and we're going to have the opportunity to dehumidify a lot better. So we'll look at it another way from a graph. So this is some weather data from Charleston, South Carolina on just an average May day. So, you start out in the mid to high 70s, you move up close to 90, and then as the day progresses, you start cooling back down. So the single speed system, when the unit comes on, it's going to run at 100%, whether you need 100% capacity or not. So this is where at the lower temperatures, you're not going to be running long enough. You have enough capacity when the temperature rises for the runtime to satisfy the thermostat, but you're not doing a good job of removing that latent heat, getting the humidity out of the house. So if we were looking at a 2-stage, again, the same temperature curve, you could run with a 2-stage. It could run the majority of the day on the first stage, but then you have the extra capacity for the second stage only when you need it. So again, you're only running what you need. You're increasing your run times, lowering the humidity in the house. 5-stage, so now you have, a lot of different choices. You have 3 different speeds on stage 1, and then you have the 100% on stage 2. And you can see that, this as an example, this is how the system will follow the temperature based off of the load and only cool as much as needed. So, as building codes have changed, homes are built a lot tighter. So, moisture becomes more and more of an issue, especially some of the homes like, that have the Icynene or the sealed living space. You have that much more humidity that's being trapped in the houses that has to get removed. Longer run times don't mean more energy use. When you start the system up, it's just like a car. Where do you get better gas mileage? City traffic or driving on the highway? It's the starting and the stopping. That's where you're using a lot of energy. Increasing that runtime also circulates the air through the house a lot more. So you're running it past whatever filtration system might be in place, as well as you're going to get a lot more even temperatures throughout the home because it's not satisfying so quickly. It allows the system to breathe and change the air a lot more in the house. And again, like I mentioned, the system startup is the major factor in power consumption. My suggestion is wherever possible, you take the time to explain the difference in comfort. People don't change out equipment like they do cars. When they make a decision, they're making a decision usually because they have to. A system is not worth repairing, so they're being forced into replacement. So they're just worried about getting their comfort back in their house. But taking just a few minutes to talk to them about some of their options, be it a staged piece of equipment or a variable speed piece of equipment, it's something that they're going to live with for many, many years. And it's the right thing to do to give your customer some options. And from a contractor standpoint, whether you're selling a single stage unit or a variable speed unit or a 2-stage unit, your labor is not going to change. You're going to be setting a condensing unit. You're going to be setting an air handler or a furnace and a coil. That's not going to change. So if you make a few more bucks on a staged piece of equipment, your overhead doesn't change. It just means that you're going to make more money, put more money in your pocket at the end of the day. So I hope this is a useful presentation for you. If there's any questions, please feel free to reach out. Certainly appreciate your time. Certainly appreciate your business. Please stay safe out there. Thanks again.